ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Om. May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, mind, all sensory and motor organs become efficient, powerful. All is verily the one without second, absolute, divine, blissful existence. Let me never deny this truth. Let me never forget it. May this truth never reject me either. May all the virtues spoken of by the scriptures as necessary to experience and hold on to this truth be with me. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us close our eyes and in our heart feel the presence of the divine, our true self, beyond time and space. Let us feel that I am seeing it all pervading, infinite screen on which this movie of the world, movie of the universe, the movie of I and mine is getting played. The forms on the screen, they are changing, moving. They come and go. They are big and small, smaller than the atom, bigger than the galaxy. they come, appear and disappear. The screen, the divine, is ever present. That divine is the reality of all these changing forms. That is the existence that pervades in and through all names and forms. And yet remains transcendent to it, remains untouched by the forms. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, as you see, we shall be having this 18th class of this series of Srimad Bhagavatam, stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are in what is called second skandha, second volume. And the topic being discussed is that how from that one without second God, this multifarious changing universe comes about. This universe is very, very complicated. Nobody can really fathom everything about it, or even one thing about it. It is everything, if you go to analyze, is full of so many complications, so many intricacies that one cannot know even something that is apparently small. So this multiplicity, this universe, all these intricate forms, their connections, their actions, their coming and going, how from that one unchanging divine existence, how that one created this multiplicity. As I mentioned last time, that we always get this question. Okay, but let us begin at the beginning. Let us begin with the opening prayers. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditarataschaर्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा Dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi. That from whom creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of even the greatest sages, in whom the world of the three gunas subsist, just as the combination of materials like fire, water and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. So this whole book, Bhagavatam, is the result of that tremendously deep meditation of these sages. They saw this one divine principle, the God, who is to be loved, who is the source of all love. And by loving or being devoted to that God, our life becomes full of bliss. So that is the whole idea, that knowledge is the step towards that ultimate devotion. It is knowledge, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that it can go into just the visiting parlor. Bhakti or devotion goes deep into the house, into the inner apartment, into the kitchen, bedrooms, everywhere devotion can go. So the knowledge, very important. Please don't get me wrong, friends. Knowledge is very important, but that knowledge should generate the attraction towards that divine, turning away from the appearance of this name and form. So that is how the devotion is the love turned towards the truth. And that is what is mentioned in the opening, this great verse, that look, it is the appearance. The appearance does not really affect the reality. The example given here is Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo. That there is the light, Tej, there is the light, and there is the water, that is we think about, and there is actually the earth there. The combination therefore shows us what gets called the phenomena of mirage. While we see that no change has occurred in the earth that is there, it remains just as it is. So, and this phenomena, many of you, I am sure almost all of you have watched. If you now go out driving on a road, if there are some clouds and it is hot weather, you will see that according to the laws of optics, because of the difference in the index of refraction, it appears to be waves there, and it appears that a lot of water is there. But that water, that appearance of water actually does not wet that land. That has to be remembered. So similarly, all this turmoil in the world, all this multiplicity, all different problems, they are not touching the oneness of the truth, and yet that oneness is pervading each of these forms, being its reality. So, therefore, what the sages are telling as the way to make our life meaningful and fulfilled is turn your love to that which is real than what actually does not exist. This exists, God is. It is the substratum of everything. So, love is to be turned towards that. That is also the source of love. So, we saw last time that this question was being discussed, how that God alone appears, that gross to subtle and subtle to gross. The mind goes in these directions. So, on that same reality, now you see from subtlest to grossest, that from the cause to the effect, the cosmic intelligence that is called Mahat, ego, endowed with the three gunas, it gets the three powers of knowledge, action, and substantiality. It appears substantial, although it is actually not there. It appears to be so real, so so true. This is how we get cheated. It is, I went near that in Holland, and there is a very famous panorama that people go to see. And then when I saw, it is this sight of a nice seashore, a beach, and then there were the boats of the fishermen, the ropes lying there, the sand, the pebbles, the other things that you see on the seashore, the vast expanse of the sea. It was, and feeling so real. I actually thought that there is this actually sand there. And I proceeded to pick up the sand. But realized there is no sand there. It is only a canvas. Only a canvas on which it is all painted. Looks real. A great artwork. Similarly, you see all these things that we see, because of our brain configuration, they have three-dimensionality. And also our mind tells us that it is real. I mean, we use it, isn't it? Yes, but that which uses is also a picture, a 3D picture. So it fits there. What I call as I am sitting on this chair, how can it be real or unreal? I am sitting on it, and look, it has substantiality, and I am therefore sitting there, not falling off. Otherwise, had it not been real, imagine I would have fallen down. But the sages answer that the one who is sitting on it is also a picture in this universe. That also is a part of this movie. Just as in the movie you see, as somebody is, say, climbing the stairs, climbs up quickly, and then sees a couch there, sits there, relaxes, takes out maybe a cigarette and starts smoking. You see the smoke also coming out from his cigarette and nose and mouth, all that. Then that person takes out from his pocket his phone and starts talking on the phone. You hear that also. How can all that be not real? Well, go and try to touch that person, you will see it is screen. All that is just mere appearance. Let us remember this. That is how God creates. That is how it is just a projection of the God. As you saw in the first, so that opening slide, that it is like a spider just weaves the web, taking everything from itself. There is no other material involved there apart from this omniscient, omnipresent God. So, then further through the push of the tamas, that is what is very important. It is through the push of tamas. Tamas is the power of, ignorance, darkness. As our understanding or awareness gets more and more shrouded by darkness, ignorance, then the universe starts appearing more as real. That is how we mistake the appearance for reality, by getting our intelligence covered and this covering phenomena, that is tamas. By our understanding getting clouded, it happens. That is how we get cheated in the world as well. It is, I read in newspaper that, that was such a sad incident. 4 people in a family, they were murdered by these 2 ladies who came there. She was saying that we are the health workers sent by the Department of Public Health, and then this is the portion that we have been told to take. This is like a preventive. Take this so you will not get coronavirus. And they were speaking so nicely, cleverly. These people did not even doubt that this may not be the case. They said that we have come to this neighborhood, for this purpose we have been sent. Now the intelligence got clouded. They did not verify that is it true? Do these ladies actually from the health department? Has health department, they did not ask for ID or any such thing, and they drank that thing, thinking that it is a vaccination for coronavirus. That's it, that was their last drink, friends. So, got cheated. Thus, it is because of the excess of tamas, when we are not capable of exerting discernment. We get incapacitated, as it were. We see that which is not real as real. That is called tamas. So, because of the preponderance of tamas, the creation, as it were, proceeds from the one principle down to this whole universe. Those who would like to read more about this, please read carefully the book Vedanta Sara, which describes this whole process, showing how at every step it is the further tamas that comes up, further ignorance, further darkness that clouds us. So then come all the five elements, then their specific properties in a process of evolution. Mind, intellect, organs of knowledge and of action then come along with their presiding deities. Exactly. The rope, when it appears to be the snake, then automatically you identify the various parts of the snake. Oh, this is its mouth, and this is, you see, where it's poisonous, those fangs are. Don't you see they're moving like that? It is all that on the rope you start seeing, that you start counting how many spots are there on the snake, how long is the snake, is it poisonous or not poisonous. All this goes on while the rope is just covered by in our intellect. It is as we throw the light there and we see the rope, this snake, that non-existing snake vanishes. That's all. What happened to this snake then? That is why what will happen to this world? This is only the problem of ignorant people. Suppose all people get God realization, this universe will not then exist, isn't it? Let it not exist. It doesn't exist. It only appears. Let us keep that in mind. Not that something existing becomes non-existence, but that which did not have any existence, only appearance, while that gets destroyed, means nothing real is getting destroyed. And this is an important, a very easily understandable, but because of the covering of our intellect, we are not able to hold on to this, and this multifarious universe appears to be more real. We don't ask proof for the existence of this world. We keep on asking the proof of existence of God. Can you prove the existence of God? Well, can you prove the existence of the world? Nobody asked this question. So, it is, all this is an outcome of tamas. And this sage, this Shuka is telling here the story, the conversation between Brahma and his son Narada. That is how the stories of the Puranas are. These epics, they are written in this fashion, that somebody is telling through an incident that happened back, and then how that was that question was answered. So that very story is being told, that Brahma, who is considered to be the creator, that Brahma is describing that how this comes about. So it is told there that like the sun is shining everywhere. Now, whatever we are seeing, say the sun has risen, And then that sun, in that sunlight, you are seeing all these houses, trees, mountains, water streams, people, everything is being seen in the light of the sun. Actually, you are seeing only the light. We do not see the tree or the human being or the mountains or whatever. We see the light. Our eyes, they only see the light, and then later in the brain, because of the play of darkness and light, a form gets generated. That form we get attached to. But look, it is just the light. Is any question about that? It is just light, isn't it? We don't actually see the houses or trees or whatever. It is the light that is coming. And what is the source of that light? The sun is the source of that light. So we are actually seeing only sunlight. And it creates all this multifarious that perception that yes, all this is there. It is only the light of the sun. And then that sun still remains without any change. Because the sun is being that illumining all the other things, that does not mean that the sun is getting diminished by that. A sun has no effect at all of what is getting illumined by that. It doesn't care whether it falls on something very good, nice, or it is illuminating the coronavirus. It has no concern. It does not distinguish between a saintly person and a very demonic evil person. It does not discriminate between that. It just is scattering the light. So this whole universe, with all its different these ramifications, various actions that take place, the different shapes, different names, different forms, so complicated really. All that is just outcome of this one divine unchanging principle. It does not change. So this is the idea that it is just as the sun illumines everything and yet remains herself. Lord, like that, the Lord alone exists in this what is that word? In that cosmic form. Yeah. Lord alone is there in this cosmic form. So, it is, and then that is the reality. There is, and that God is efficient cause as well as material cause from which all this universe comes. And it remains unchanged. Satchidananda does not at all undergo any change. And this is the unique greatness of God. The idea behind saying unique is that nobody else creates in this world in this fashion. They exert. They have to do something to create, and then they consume material, they consume time. All these are there. But God creates everything. just like that, without consuming any this thing. Nothing is consumed of God. God remains unchanging, Satchidananda. So let us think of that. And then this process is further described that when it is that when and let me read when I, that is Brahma is telling this, when I emerged out of the navel of Him, the Lord, who is the inner soul of the universe, universal form, I found nothing but the parts of that being for use as the various requisites for this yajna, the creation, process of creation. All this is to be made. Now, where is the material for that? I just sprang up from the navel of the Lord. And now I have been entrusted this job. Hey, create. But where is the material? There was nothing but God. So I just imagined, thought of all these different parts of the body of God as different parts of the universe. I am just made like that. And thus this whole universe is that it is just imagined on God. That it is very beautiful poetic saying that since no other material was available, I had to use bits of Him as the bricks, etc., to create. It is all Lord. So it is like Upanishads declare that there is this heap of clay from which you make all the pots. That is the clay itself. And now is appearing in the various forms of different pots. So that is how that same God is appearing to us in various forms. And the clay did not undergo any change whatever. So exactly the Lord just is imagined like this. So we are seeing nothing but God even now, only without knowing it. Swami Vivekananda in both books, Practical Vedanta as well as Jnana Yoga, expresses this idea that people ask that can we see God? One answer is that we are seeing God all the time. In fact, we have not seen anything but God. We are seeing God all the time. What else do we see? If you are seeing, say, a movie in a theater, all that you are seeing is the screen. You are not aware of that, maybe, that's all. It is, but you have not seen anything but the screen. Would you say, how can I see the screen? Well, that is what you are seeing in the form of all this. So, this idea about creation is very important in understanding this that all the various parts that come are just the outcome of this one, without any change, appearing as many. So therefore this story goes like this, that Lord told Brahma, okay, because now Brahma came out of the navel of Lord, now needs some work, you see. We all need job. So it is okay that it is if there is no job, we look for some job. What that Bengali idiom you said the other day, that khoi ki nahi kash to khoi bhaj. If there is no work, okay, then you make that popped rice. Okay, it is, keep on doing, because then we all need some work to do. It is that so Brahma also needed some job. Okay, so Lord said, come on, make the universe. Now, well, how? So Brahma had the knowledge. First, for creation you need to have the knowledge how to make. That is somebody who has studied engineering, architecture, and or some understanding of construction has to be interested with that job. So this Brahma has the knowledge of all the Vedas, expert in that. That is why this deity Brahma is shown with 4 faces. Each face is like one Veda. There are 4 Vedas, the most important authoritative Indian scriptures, Vedas. So there are 4. So 4 Vedas, and Brahma is actually an expert in that. So it is said, Brahma there declares that it is I found nothing to create with, and then this is so everything was imagined on that God. That alone is. And then this work is like sacrifice. All that has been poured in this fire of creation, in this firmament, everything is being poured. That was the firmament, the yajna, all the requisites, materials and labor, like the animals, posts and pillars, grass, ground, seasons, Vedic text, experts in ritual, their actions, etc., etc., was Narayana alone. God alone was all that. Then he says, I completed the sacrifice of creation under his direction. That it is read that his that etched as capital, God, under the direction of and control of God, and offered it to him alone. This is how the idea of sacrifice is. Yajna. Though in the Ramakrishna mission, before taking food, we chant a mantra. It is a verse from Bhagavad Gita which gives this idea. All of you must have heard and chanted this mantra many times. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. That this Lord, Brahman alone, is the ladle with which arpana means that ladle with which this sacrificial offering is made, poured into the fire. And then what is fire? Agni, the fire is also Brahman. And what is being poured then? That also is Brahman. And the result, that also is Brahman. Brahmaiva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. That it is, what do we realize by this? What do we get? That also is Brahman. So it is like that, that all is that same reality. You can think, on say a canvas, you draw a picture of this sacrifice happening. Then all that fire, and then the pot in which the fire is being made, the what is poured, with which it is poured, the one who pours, all that is just that canvas. So that is it. It is, therefore think of that. This is the training to our thinking. Think that Hari, the Lord, is everything. So name of the Hari is therefore to be remembered. That is the whole idea. So there is a nice song. Hari 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 Sumeran Karo. Hari 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 Sing Hari Hari. 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 So that is, the mind is to be put in that reality. Our love should go there. So this is how this universe is all Hari alone. Think of that. It may not appear to be, real now, but that is the great efficacy of the name. Chant the name of Lord, because that name gradually makes that form also appear to be real. Just keep on chanting the name, keep on reciting the mantra, and well, yes, gradually it starts becoming real for us. That is how it is. Somebody, say, has only heard the name of a person. Only the name, has never met that person. Only the name is being heard. But then, when repeatedly that name is heard and thought about, gradually that person becomes real. And you start looking for where that person is. And then you meet that person. It is, and then you say, well, now I have put a form to the name. So it is, name has tremendous power. This idea that great sage Tulsidas has presented, that how he puts a question, that whom should you value more, God or the name of God? Govind or the name of the Govind? What is more important? That it is the God or name of God? He said that I will say that name is more powerful, because with the name you can get the form. The reverse is not true. It is like here, if somebody comes and starts asking, oh, where is Pritish? Where is Prit? Now, because of the name, he will turn around. Oh, yes, I am. So, the name can bring out the form. And he says, reverse is not true. By looking at the form, you do not know the name. He has to tell the name. So it is like that. The name brings out the form. So name is therefore very powerful. So think of it. Name makes us, think. That is how the sound and thought are so closely connected with each other. We cannot think without word. And that is why this in the philosophy you read also in the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Exactly same idea you will find in Vedanta as well, that this is the Word. So think of that as the God. The Word was God. So, and from that, everything that was made was made. Great idea. Swami Vivekananda in Inspired Talks, in the very first chapter, first day, he quotes these 5 lines of Saint John, this Apostle John, and then declares that these sentences are stuffed with the highest philosophy. That this is how the creation is, just the word. So, this is as the Lord is ever in my consciousness. What happens then? You think of God. Always in the consciousness there is nothing but God. So what happens? God is truth. So whatever this person thinks always comes true. As the Lord is ever in my consciousness, my words always come true. My mind never takes a wrong turn, and my senses never take to evil ways. So that is how the transformation of life would come. That if we think of God, if we stick to God, there is no chance that our words will become false. Our thoughts will always veer around the truth. It is, and also our mind will never take a wrong turn, because the God is the guide there. How can it be taking wrong turn? And my senses never take to evil ways. This is how the transformation happens. And yet, he says, but I have not been able to know anything of this Supreme Lord, though I am the very embodiment of Vedic learning, and have attained the great concentration of mind through the yogic practices. God is not an object of knowledge. You don't know anything about God, because that is from God everything has proceeded. So you cannot know about that. It is all dark to you. It is after that, well, you can see form connections, you exercise your logic and all that, you will know about it. But then about Lord, our source, we do not know anything. But by devotionally we can become one with it. We can connect to it. And we can derive that inspiration. Although we will never be able to know God. So even Brahma says that I have the complete knowledge of all the 4 Vedas. All scriptures I know. And also, I have done all these yogic practices. Still, I do not know anything. We saw many classes back that Bhishma is crying. He is on this deathbed, the bed of arrows, and he is crying. So those who saw Pandavas and Krishna there, where they were there, they said, "Oh, even now this Bhishma, the great sage, he also is now crying because he will have to leave the body." And then Krishna was smiling. Bhishma spoke that, "No, no, I am not crying for that. I am crying, well, look, the one whose constant companion and supporter was Krishna. Those Pandavas who were so closely connected to Krishna, still their miseries had no end. Even after such a long life, I can't understand even the slightest of this Krishna's Leela, Krishna's display. I could not understand anything, because it is not matter of understanding at all. Again, as Bible says, the ways of human beings are not the ways of the God, and God's ways are not those of the human beings. So this is important, and therefore it is only Brahma says, salutations to that Lord, salutations. We can only meditate on that. We can think of that, and nothing more than that is possible. The knowledge of God is not possible. We get bewildered even about the worldly things. How it happened, we don't know. But yet, we feel that, yes, I know. And then that knowledge that we say we know, that becomes not the knowledge, it becomes ignorance. After a little while, we realize that it was not knowledge, but it is ignorance. So, Upanishads, especially the Shankara's commentary on that, call that what we call various branches of knowledge. They are just different varieties of ignorance, that's all. So we don't know about God, but we can keep on chanting the name of the Lord. So we shall close now with our regular closing prayer, which is a great verse. Our opening prayer is the first verse, and then the closing verse is the third verse of Bhagavatam. And one in between is also a very beautiful verse. Someday we may be able to discuss that. We shall, after this, if you have any questions, you can come ask those. So, Nigamakkalpatarurgalitam phalam Shukamukhadamritadravasanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuruho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. O devotees, quaff, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka and mixed with the ambrosia from his words. So just meditate on these ideas for say 30 seconds, And then if you have any comments, questions, we shall take them up. Yes, please. Any questions there?
Yeah, there are few.
Okay, please announce.
From Abhijit Pranam Maharaj, you said at the beginning of class that the goal of knowledge is to have devotion, but scriptures say that self-knowledge is the supreme attainment. Could you please explain?
I expected somebody is going to ask question. Yes, it is the goal of this knowledge is devotion according to the bhakti scriptures, and Bhagavatam is a bhakti scripture. So although the pure knowledge and pure devotion are same, so therefore it is the great teachers of knowledge like Chit Sukhacharya, for example, he also praises this devotion. Madhusudan Saraswati, the great teacher of non-dualism, he says that, well, whatever other people may have the idea of Brahman, whether it is beyond the gunas, and we don't care for that. I care for that form of Brahman which dances on these banks of river Yamuna. That is the Brahman that we like to adore. So, what happens is that to attain the knowledge, you need also the devotion. So, it is the description, whether there is no question of exact superiority at the ultimate end, but here we have to see the efficacy. And as the knowledge, in the sense that you exercise your discernment, separate things, this and this, that is true. Good exercise, but you need devotion to practically experience those things. Therefore, Shankara also says that moksha karana samagriyam bhaktireva gariyasi. This devotion or love of God is the supreme amongst the means of liberation. And important thing is, he says it in a book that is dedicated to the knowledge, Viveka Chudamani. So that book says this in praise of devotion or bhakti. And therefore, bhakti is its own end. And if one sees that the knowledge of the self as the matter of supreme experience, it gets automatically, on the same footing, or the substance of this statement is same as supreme devotion. So, therefore, supreme devotion is mentioned from the point of view of efficacy for most of us. That the knowledge, as it is, you use knowledge, but then it doesn't carry us much unless there is the feeling of love. Feelings are the engine, that is the how one proceeds to God. Without the devotion, it is not possible to reach the divine experience. Yes. Well, it is. Your question is it theoretical knowledge? No. Theoretical knowledge, and even if you are meditating and all that, it does not just the process of discernment in most people. Most means I would say 99% people does not go much farther unless there is the force of devotion behind it. There has to be power. And if you see why I am telling 99.9% or whatever is because look at our actions, our life. Our life is powered more by our feelings rather than our intellectual discernment. That is why the engine that powers our life is bhakti. So, practically speaking, we can reach the divine experience if this power of bhakti is behind it. Yeah.
Next question is from Charlie. The non-dual God feels real but unlovable, and all manifestations seem unreal and thus unlovable. How do I develop devotion to God?
The non-dual God is the most lovable. The first assertion, Charlie, that you made, that the non-dual God is not lovable, that's not right. The non-dual God is the most lovable. In fact, the love is non-duality. It is love makes that which appears to be two into one. That is the love. If the more intense the love is, the separations they start withering away. It reaches the non-duality. That is the essence of love. Yeah, so that first statement that the non-dual God is not lovable is not true. Non-dual God is very much lovable, and that is why that God pervades us all. That God is my true self. So it is most lovable. Who loves more anything else than oneself? That is the important thing to think about it. Any other question?
There are two more actually. Abhijit is another question. Pranam Maharaj, I have another question. If one has devotion and surrender, then why does one need a logical explanation of how the one becomes many? Shouldn't devotion make logic unnecessary?
Yes. Supreme devotion, if the devotion is very powerful, logic becomes completely unnecessary. But why the scriptures speak of both is that our devotion is not to that extent intense. So it needs some augmentation. If our legs are quite strong, we do not need the crutches. But if the legs are not strong, then we need some additional support. So neither our bhakti is that strong, nor our intelligence is that powerful. So we need therefore both of these, and that is why that understanding, trying to understand, that is not to be discarded, but is also on the basis of this bhakti devotion, and the understanding is also to be done with that. It is combination of both that works, you see. It is like you have, say, dal and rice. So both have to be there. Just one of them doesn't make your lunch very good. So you therefore need both. So your devotion is necessary, and your intellectual this thing is also necessary. Now there could be some who can just eat one of them dal. I will eat just dal. I don't need other. And that is an exceptional person. Somebody say, well, I will eat just rice. I don't care for dal. That is again some very few people. So most of us, we require bhakti and knowledge both. In fact, as Sri Ramakrishna mentions, all the four yogas have to be practiced in a synthetic manner for most of us to forge ahead on this path. Yeah.
Next question is from Sarda. Pranam Swamiji, are the perceived contradictions in scriptures that are often posed by various academics just our own inability to comprehend the vastness of the Lord and His Leela?
Exactly. In the academic world, the main difficulty is they do not try to put these things in practice, and they are mostly working with intellectual gymnastics. So therefore they will just and that is their bread and butter. It is, you have to see that is how they earn their positions, their PhDs, their grants and whatever. So unless they show contradictions and just work on those things, bring something very new, their position at the university or whatever is in jeopardy. So therefore, the academics is a different thing. The question is whether we want to go that route or we want to practice the truth and realize God. If you are practicing, slowly the contradictions will give way to higher understanding. There is a philosophical basis to that, as it is, Hegel had pointed out that it is thesis, antithesis and synthesis. So we get some idea, a counter idea comes with that. Now we see that the two are contradictory, but the two therefore give way to a synthesis of this one. And then that process continues, because that synthesis again becomes a thesis, then an antithesis comes, and then So that is how the contradictions get gradually resolved.
Comment from Charlie. What he says is, terrorists believe they are guided by God and yet they take a wrong turn. And this comment is in reference to what was said as, if you are guided by God, you always find truth.
Yeah, of course, yeah. See, being guided by God and just thought to be guided by God are two different things. It is, even a common person may think I am guided by God. Forget terrorists. Is that person so devoted to God that always resides in God, always fills the mind with the thought of God? Then the person's mind will be at peace and no terrorist act will happen from that person. See, it is what a person claims and what that person actually is are not the same thing. So claiming very easy that I am guided by God. But if you look at the how many other things are guiding that person, you can see that they are not guided by God. They are guided by their selfish motives, and just to justify that, they say that, well, we are guided by God. Even when one of our past presidents could not give that logically tenable reason to start a war, took recourse to God, that God told me to take that step. So it is not to be confused with actually what the scriptures are telling. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, because it is if you have form, then why do you need name? It is not complete without name, and the form is only half part of it. And name and form together make it. So it is if you have form, that is not enough. It is you ask everybody, what's your name? It is because it doesn't bring completion, It is that is why Tulsidas says that with the name the form can be pulled in. But by looking at the form, you have to actually ask that person, what is the name? It is. Oh, yes, it is therefore, but that God has infinite names and infinite forms. Not only infinite names, infinite forms as well. Yeah. Okay, then. Yes, just to give you all a possibility that maybe from after next weekend we will be opening this Vedanta Society for people to actually come in. But to what extent we will be opening, etc., will be decided a little later. In coming week, we will be able to decide that, and our weekly newsletter on Wednesday will make announcement regarding that. Thank you. Let us conclude with the closing chant. That closing chant. मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। हरि हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल। कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल।